Okay, am I live? I think I'm live. Happy belated Human Design New Year, guys. I know that I came on a couple of weeks ago on a Wednesday morning and said I was going to make it a priority this year to come on and live stream at least once a week. And here I am, maybe 2.5 weeks later. So that speaks very much to some of the inconsistencies that I deal with mechanically in my design. Guys can relate as well. But I wanted to get on this morning because the inspiration was here to get on. And I wanted to wish you guys a happy Human Design New Year. We are actually just about ready to leave this first gate that starts the new year. And if you're new to human design or you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll put a link with this video where I actually go into the technical aspects of what is the human design new year. But basically what it is we're traveling around the astrological wheel, the I Ching wheel, and this is the time of year when we get to the beginning where we started last year and we move around again. And it's always in gate 41, which is this gate right here down at the bottom of the chart. And we're actually in line 6 now. 41 is known as decrease. And line 6 means that we've already been through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're in that last little tick mark of 6. And I'll tell you, the energies have been, for me, have been very much about this feeling of the new beginning, which is what 41 is very much about. It's like this impulse. If you look at it mechanically, it's on the root. It's this impulse, this connected to this driver of the root, to birth the new dream, the new beginning. But if you notice, it isn't even remotely close to where it can be expressed and manifested to the throat. So there is always this sense around when you're dealing with 41 around feeling that impulse, feeling that drive to get started, to have that experience, to have the experiences of the new beginning, the new desire being birthed, and also being very, very much aware that it's not time yet for that the energy isn't there yet for it. And there's a tendency at times, if you're really not really centered in your heart, not really aligned with the flow of your life, there can be a tendency to get really impatient or to try to force things through that really haven't fully gestated. So this is a very much a gestational period. I mean, it kicks off the gestational period. So for your creations, for your fruitions that will, or your creations that will come to fruit later on in the year. And if we look at this seasonally, here we are in the Northern Hemisphere in winter. And this is very much a time to gestate your dreams, to gestate your visions. And I think it's just so powerful this year because we have started into the new decade. And if you're a numerology buff, you know that we're in a 4-year, which is all about foundations. And what I'm really feeling, and you let me know whether you're on here live, you can chat in the chat box if you're on live, or if you catch this later, you can chat in the comments as to what you're feeling. But I'm really feeling that what happens this year, what I create this year, is the foundation for my next 10 years. And I kind of had that confirmed the other day. this is usually my time of year when I'm visioning, and I'm sure you are too. Really taking stock of how you want to expand and how you want to grow. So, and that's part of the reason why I haven't really been on. I just haven't felt like talking. So today I had that inspiration and here I am. But I've been doing a lot of that inner visioning work and that inner just tuning in. And this time of year, I always like to get a reading from someone else. And I work with someone who works in the Akashic Records. And prior to my reading with her, I was doing a lot of work in my own record as well. And I usually dredge up the information. I bring it all up to the surface. I have it here, circling around me. I see all of the components of what is significant for the questions that I'm asking. And then I have the reading and it all gets hyper organized. So that's what I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. Between the time of my father-in-law's memorial service and today, I've just been reorganizing, revisioning, honing my vision, making my vision stronger, understanding what blocks me, having an understanding of the steps I need to take to really get at the upper end of my life and work at the upper end of my gifts and my talents. And that takes a lot internally to do that. So I'm just saying that now, if for any of those of you who are feeling that introspective internal movement, but it's not really being expressed outside, I want to just encourage you to take your time this year. Take your time and make sure that your foundational pieces are in place. And by that, I mean, take care of your health if you need to. Are there things that you've neglected about your health and well-being that really need to be taken care of now? That you can't, if you look forward into the next 10 years, do you want to carry those issues with you? Do you want to carry those ailments with you? You probably don't. So take care of those things. Make it a practice to really get grounded in your body every day. And then from there, the what builds on that are who you spend time with, what your relationships are about, how the quality of your relationships, which always, again, comes back to the quality of this relationship with yourself, right? So, all of that is this dance between inner and outer and inner and outer, and understanding where you stand in that and strengthening your stance and your foundation in you so that you can dance with that. And actually, that's something that we're talking about in the Deconditioning Blueprint course. So I'll put a plug in here for that. That course that I've created, I'll put a link down below. We're going to have our first live call tomorrow. I'm so excited and if any of you are coming, I can't wait to take a look at your charts and to talk about understanding how you can begin to understand who you are by really, really knowing who you're not. And I'll talk more about that on a formal video, but I'll put a link down below. It's an ongoing project. Part 1 has been released. You can join at any time. It's very, very reasonably priced right now. We have a live monthly meeting that'll just continue to roll throughout the year as long as there's interest. And as long as, and until I get to the point where part 2 is ready to launch, it is still going to be at the price point of $75, but it will go up. So just so you know, if you missed it because maybe you just tuned in today, You know, maybe you've been doing your introspective thing. It is there. So be sure to check that out if you've been wondering about like all of the white spaces in your chart and what that means and what you do, how you work with that. This is all about that kind of exploration. So, I created that as an example. I created that as a foundation for moving into my work over the next 10 years. It's a foundational piece for everyone that I work with one-on-one. One of the things uh, that really people come back to me for is to understand their conditioning and to understand how they deal with what's coming to them, how they deal with the energies of what's coming to them. And that is evolving as well in terms of, how I understand that, how I'm beginning to work with that in my own understanding of the upper level of what I have to offer. But this is the foundation. So getting back to foundation, have your foundation in place, and then let your inner fire glow. So here's the image I'm getting with this, with this year's this preparation for the decade. When you build a fire, if you have a fire pit outside or whatever, you have to have the ground clear. You have to have it prepared. So that's the grounding piece of this analogy. Maybe you have a fire pit, you have to clean it out. Or if you have a fireplace, you have to clean that out. You have to prepare the ground, and then you have to put the wood in, or the charcoal, or whatever it is, to really have the fuel that you need to make your passions, your fire, the analogy for passions, grow. So once you get the foundation, start putting those desires in there, putting those things in there that are really, when you ignite your desires, they'll really light up and take hold. So that's it. That's the formula, I guess, that I'm passing along today about preparing for the new year, preparing for the new decade. Just prepare the ground, do what it takes to ground yourself. Like some of the things I'm doing are just taking care of little health things. My shoulder has been in rehab for since the beginning of the year. It's starting to get stronger, but it's something that has just kind of been nagging at me, and especially when orchard season starts. I knew I couldn't go into another orchard season with the discomfort that I was having, and I knew I needed to get my shoulder stronger. And it takes a lot of time. It takes 2 to 3. It takes more time than that. I think I'm down to twice a week now, but it's an hour and a half each time I go there, plus the drive time. But I had to just stop and acknowledge that this is important. So what are the things in your life that are important for you to just take care of now, so that you can clear that ground, so that you can have the groundwork, you can have access to your full health and well-being and vitality, so that when you start to put in the things that will fuel your passions, you have the ground clear, you have it stable, you have it, I don't know, dried out. It's been a while since I've built a fire outside. So you have it all cleaned out, you have it all ready and prepared, and you can put the fuel, you can put the wood in, the things that you can ignite. And what is the wood an analogy for? The wood is an analogy for Well, it depends on what you're creating, right? Like if you're creating a business, the wood is the analogy for the collaborative partnerships that you have, the relationships that you have with your clients, the systems that you have for communication and marketing your business. If it's your family, the wood is those, like let's say you have children, those systems that you have in place to make sure that your children have get to school on time and have their lunch with them, or those things you have in place, like how you earn income to buy your children clothes or to put groceries on the table, right? So, get those things in place. If there are things that you have just let go of, that you have not been paying attention to, um, physically, financially, uh, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, mindset is a part of that clearing the groundwork, getting rid, throwing out those old charred things, burned things that where you had maybe had been burned in the past, or things where that are no longer burnable, that no longer you can no longer use to ignite your passions. Get rid of that and clear it out and get grounded and make your fire pit even better, even bigger, and really make it so that it works for you. So I guess the second part of that is the passion part, putting in the wood and igniting your passions. And we've got the groundwork here, but there's also this other work. And this is why I haven't been on, because I've been doing this work. This other work of identifying what is really calling out your passions now. It may not be what you were interested in last year or 10 years ago. It may be something entirely different. So, spend some time visioning. And I think that's probably where we're going to go because I like to, when I feel inspired, do a little energy alignment work with you guys. It's not quite like how I do it when I do it one-on-one with people, but it's kind of a general group thing, a little guided meditation. I know for me, it was difficult because I was working on my vision for where do I want to be when I'm 80. And it was difficult for me to really see that and really hone in on that without a little bit of outside help from this person that was in my Akashic records. And, when I came to what it is for me, it was really quite simple. And maybe you can, if you're having trouble with that, you can build your vision out around some of these very, very simple principles of what most people want when they're in their 80s, right? And for me, that is to be able to do to be able to be healthy enough and vibrant enough to do what I want and really enjoy the heck out of my life with other uplifting people where we create more joy on the planet, and to continue to see my creations contribute to the world, to have my legacy contribute to the world, and to really have the joy of seeing other people take the work that I've done, take anything that I've created or worked with, and run with it to the next level. But at the core of that, it was this feeling of, I just want to be in this place where I can look back on my life and know that I've really done what I came here to do. So let's start there with igniting passions, with visioning and opening up that pathway for igniting passions. And take a deep breath and come into your body. I want you to tune into your heart. And as you tune into this center area here, if you're particularly energetically sensitive, you may find that if you've been feeling a little anxiety or not really haven't really done your morning meditation yet or whatever, that your energy may be a little bit off to one side. It may not actually be right in the center of your heart. So if that's the case, just breathe into where it is and then gently just coax it back into your heart center. Just line up with your heart center. And you may feel this click in there, this little click where your energy is lined up with your heart. And now imagine that your heart is beaming light. Like it has, imagine that it has this capacity to beam light down your timeline into your ideal future life, whether and you're going to the place where you can stop and look back. Like you have lived a lot of your life. It doesn't have to be 80. Just imagine that you're beaming this light to that place, to that you who is out there and has done their work in the world and is stopping to look back, stopping to assess, and stopping to enjoy where you are. So look around you as your future self and notice, first of all, how you feel in your heart. How you feel in your body. Knowing that you have done a great job, you feel fulfilled with what you've done. And in many ways, you feel that a chapter in your life has been well written. So take a deep breath in and just take that in as though you are there, acknowledging that this chapter of your life where you made such a huge contribution, a meaningful contribution, has in some ways been completed, and you are embodying the fruits of this work that you've done. So as you take that in, that feeling of fulfillment and satisfaction and joy and knowing that you have made this contribution that is only yours to make because you came here as this unique body with a soul, with these unique intentions and this unique way of expressing. Feel that satisfaction, feel that fulfillment, and look around you and see what's there for you as a result of that. What kind of relationships do you have? What's going on in your home? What are you experiencing? How is your mundane financial support coming to you? What clothes are you wearing? What food are you eating? Where are you in the world? So just feel that. Feel the, if you go into a little bit of anxiety because you're not there yet or whatever, just let go of those pieces because you can go back and do this again. I really want you to feel the fruits of the fulfillment of your life. And then as you feel that, imagine that you're walking back on your timeline to your present moment with this light from your heart lighting your path, and see yourself picking up a piece of wood here for your fire. And maybe that piece of wood has a meaning. Maybe it's something that you're going to need as fuel to light your fire, to move you into this future fulfillment. And maybe you know what that thing is, what that piece of wood represents, or maybe you don't, but just see yourself picking up that wood. And then maybe you see another piece of wood or a branch or a stick. And just as you walk back to your present moment, continue to pick up these pieces of wood that are going to fuel your fire. And when you get back to your present moment, you notice that your fire pit is there. And notice whether or not it needs to be cleaned out, cleared out, expanded. And if there is still work to be done, just set your bundle of wood over to the side and come to the fire pit now. And just take a moment to assess the ground there and what your next step is for preparing your ground there for the fire that you are going to light. So now just come back into your heart. And what I want to leave you with today is this feeling that of aligning your energy, your attention with your heart center. And whenever you go into assess what you need to clear from your fire pit or to take a look at what this wood represents in terms of what you need to ignite your fire and your passions, first go and feel where you are in relation to your heart center and align your energy back up into your heart before you proceed with the outer work that needs to be done. So when you're ready, just come back into your body. Thank you for coming. I know there are a couple of you here. I know I jumped on without any warning, and I truly appreciate your presence in this community. I hope you got something from this. Um, and there will be other videos to come. I just wanted to come on and wish you a happy belated Human Design New Year. We are moving out of the gate 41 today. So, but that still means that we're actually moving into 19. The sun is moving into 19. Let me scale this up so you can see. In the coming weeks. 49 is in too. Okay, so 19 is still down here on the root. Right there. And 40 and Mercury moves into 49 for a little while, so there is going to be a little bit of emotional energy coming to you for those of you who are open in the emotional center. Just be aware of that, and some extra sensitivity coming in. But there's still that gestational place where you can really when you can really take a look at and feel from your own sensitivity what's needed around you, and to use that as an opportunity to really come back to yourself, align with your heart, come back to your truth, come back to your design and stay grounded in that, and to continue to build your foundation in the outer world around what you know to be true about yourself. So I will be back later. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Bye.